Remote viewing Atlantis was very enlightening in the sense that it is not at all what I expected. Now, as I told Crafty Teacher here when they first requested that I do Atlantis, I was like, I remember a past life from there, so this should be really interesting. And I still do remember the past life there, and some of what I picked up remote viewing Atlantis kind of backed that up, confirmed my memory for me. Now, the reason I remote viewed instead of astral traveling is because Atlantis was so long ago that the energy of the planet and humanity at the time was so different than it is now that it was essentially in a different timeline, a different dimension. So if you were to go back there now, it's like the people wouldn't even be able to see you because your energy, your vibration is so much higher now than it was back then. You would appear as a spectral being. And so remote viewing is just much easier when you're going back that far. Now, so I get to Atlantis, and immediately I notice that it's a very scientific society. I got that they were surrounded by water, so I don't know if it was like a continent like Australia or a series of islands or what. I don't know where it was. I couldn't get a read on that. But there was lots of water, and these people as a society were so obsessed with the scientific aspect of everything that they completely disconnected themselves from spirit. They completely disconnected themselves from nature. And so it's like they forgot who they were. And they would practice experiments on animals and certain people. And it wasn't just, I'm going to draw your blood and check your DNA kind of experiments. It wasn't like medical testing. It was like Frankenstein stuff. I want to say like some of the things that they did in Germany during World War II, if you catch my drift. It was pretty horrifying to feel that energy. But they were just, everything was an experiment. Everything was technical and cold, and it was all science. And so they, with this disconnect from nature and the animals around them, it's like there was no empathy. Like they lost their sense of empathy. It was very alien to feel. So I'm getting off track. So in that they were so scientific, though, they had discovered what we consider magic. They had discovered scientifically and were able to confirm. And they set their minds to controlling these things instead of basking in the wonder and the mystery and saying, wow, we've really discovered that this is true. It's not just magic, because I've always said that magic is just science that hasn't been discovered yet. Well, they discovered all the science, and then they proceeded to try to control it. And instead of coexisting with nature, they wanted to control it. And So they set about trying to mold the world and different species of animals and even people to their idea of what everything should be. They wanted to control everything and make it into what their idea of perfection was. It was eugenics at its core. And I just keep going back to how they just forgot who they were. They forgot that they had souls. They forgot spirit. They forgot nature. And the animals started to turn on them because the animals weren't going to take it anymore. And so instead of coexisting, life started to become harder. Now I keep seeing a lot of crystals, like going back to the magic being discovered scientifically, is they had a lot of technology around crystals. They knew that they had discovered and scientifically proven the energetic properties of crystals and stones, and they could control the elements. And in doing all of that, they twisted their reality to the point where it couldn't coexist with nature anymore. They couldn't coexist with animals anymore. And the place was essential. They annihilated themselves. The people who were able to escape, that were able to flee, went to different corners of the globe and rebuild in places like Egypt and stuff, but it's annihilated. I don't know if they blew themselves up or if there was some kind of accident. I'm seeing it had something to do with crystals. Like I don't know if they just, I don't know. But I was like, when I was trying to figure out where it was and if we'll ever be able to find it, I got told Atlantis will never rise again. It will never be found. It was annihilated. You'll only find remnants, but it will always remain a mystery. So I'm sorry if that wasn't what you thought it was going to be. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But yeah, um, they destroyed themselves. So there. Okay. Stay weird. Love you. Bye.